Hey guys, Jason here for TheChartGuys, coming to you from the Fortress of Solitude and Isolation, taking a look at the very reason I'm in this fortress, the coronavirus stickers as usual. Let's start with APT on the daily time frame. APT had an inside bar on Friday, it broke bear, but we see a little bit of volatility in both directions, and we see a bounce off of our EMA 8, which tells me to look for a continued tightening range or longer term equilibrium. So let's look at our key resistances right now. We are going to look at the high of the initial bull move in this run. 875 is our support, and then we've got our EMA 8 as we know, and then we've got 1380 support. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, this is when things start to look interesting. We have the possibility of either a 4-hour equilibrium or a new downtrend, and I'm leaning more towards the equilibrium because we've seen some really solid movement by the bulls, and we still have higher lows over 1380. So we have a new support right there at our EMA 8 on the daily, 1402 or 14 psychological on the 4-hour time frame. And then what we're going to do is adjust to our after hours high at 1974 and our current high of 1745. As long as bulls can stay over 402 and come back up to approach 1745, what we would ultimately love to see would be a lower high and a continued tightening range that's going to give us that coiling buildup of energy that is really fantastic for breakouts in either direction. There's no real bias here as to direction. I'd love to see this break bull for you guys, but this is that range that we're looking at. So we go to the hourly, see if it looks any different here. We can see that we've lost that hourly uptrend with that double rejection in the area of 1745. Not unexpected, but it's this high, this hold of 1402 that has us looking a little bit optimistic for that tightening range. And really, we got to go to the 15-minute time frame, and what we're going to look for is a change of trend here. We see a double bottom in the area of 1476. That's good. Now we need to see a higher low, a higher high, and a continuation back up to that range on the 4-hour. To have a low under or a high under 1745. Pretty beautiful setup so far. There's a good trade in the making here. Let's see if we can get that going. LAKE on the daily time frame. This one is a little bit different. We saw a little bit of the bears coming in today, but we held EMA 26. The real story is going to be on the 4-hour time frame, where we have another 4-hour tightening range. It's not quite as clear as we saw in APT, but we do have the 1880 to 1507. And let's go and mark that in. But overall, we are holding higher highs and higher lows. The only concern, of course, is this most recent attempt has failed. We see the bears coming in today, having that red candlestick. And on the hourly time frame, we've lost the hourly uptrend ever so slightly. So now it is up to the bulls to change this course and see if we can't get a tightening range. Again, not a beautiful equilibrium, but we are looking to 1880 as a key resistance. And right now, 1610 on the hourly, but overall 1507 is a key support we need to hold to see continuation. What's really interesting is the CODX chart. So a big move was that after hours or over the weekend. Not exactly sure. There's after hours on Friday. Massive move by the CODX bulls and an overall tightening range today. So our candlestick is indecision, and that is not unexpected after we see this downside move and a big gap. When we get these gap ups, we need to really focus on what's happening in the most recent price action. We have to sort of abandon the technical analysis from the most recent periods over here, simply because we're now in a new area of price action, and the further back in history that you have levels in technical analysis, the less importance it seems to play on the price action. So with that said, we're going to go in and focus pretty much on the last 48 hours of trading, and in this case we see a big bull flag setting up. We see a bounce off of our EMA 8, and there's good upside potential here for the bulls if they can hold this together and complete this bull flag. What we need to see is an overall declining rate and volume, and we almost see that on the hourly time frame, but not quite. So it is up to the bulls now to change this story. What we're going to look for in the short term is going to be a break of 1089, and then ultimately we need to get over our high of 1194 for resistance. If we go to the 15-minute time frame, I think it looks better on the 5-minute time frame. You can see how to the end of the day we get this tightening range between that 1089 high and let's get that low there, 1016. So even though we have this defined range and it's not quite an equilibrium, you can see that there are lower highs and higher lows forming as opposed to that first bout of volatility we saw midday. Going back to the hourly time frame, not quite a bull flag here, but it has a potential there on the 4-hour time frame. Ultimately, I want to see a break of that 1089 level. I want to see it happen during regular action tomorrow. Beautiful tightening range here. Congratulations to any of the bulls who managed to get into CODX. That's about all I gotta say. Nice move. BIR on the daily time frame. Another good indecision candlestick on the daily time frame, and we are trying to change this trend. Until now, we have been looking for lower highs and lower lows. What's interesting now is that we have broken over top of 37.49, and we've got a potential for a daily trend change. So what we need to see here, and this isn't necessarily going to come tomorrow, but we need to see a daily higher low over 12 or 27.12. So what that could look like is maybe even just tomorrow we get a gap down and we hold above 27.12 moving on, or maybe we get a couple strong days before we come down and set a higher low. Ultimately, all we need to do is establish that higher low, look for that trend change on the daily time frame. But today's action is giving us that indecision candlestick. There's that change in the 4-hour trend as well, trying to change that daily trend. Good volume. If we go to the hourly time frame, possible for an hourly equilibrium setting up here with this high, low, lower high, and now what we need to see is the bears come into action, push the price down, and get a higher low over 32.15 to flush out that equilibrium. So there's a good trade in the making here as well, but not quite ready on VIR. Pay close attention to what happens in the most recent range here, and there it is, even better on the 15-minute time frame. Just a beautiful ping pong action. NVAX, another big bull day. This one shouldn't be a surprise because we saw continued 4-hour strength on NVAX for the last couple weeks. It is the other names that have been a little bit dicey. So on the daily time frame, the only resistance we have in sight right now is from February 28th at 1771. A relatively casual spinning top candlestick today, still closed green, bulls in control. And here's the story: 4-hour time frame, higher lows, higher highs. And bulls had an attempt, or I should say bears had an attempt to change the trend here, but bulls have denied that with this higher high, higher low, and continuing to ride that price action to the upside, heading towards 1771. Right now, as long as we stay above 1490, bulls are going to be in complete control. And on the hourly time frame, we can see that as a key level for us to hold on the hourly as well, with bulls holding regular market hours levels of 1506 as support, and the resistance from, this is probably from regular market, 1659. We'll go to the 5-minute time frame just to double check that, and indeed it is the first half hour or so of trading right there. So a lot of big moves on our coronavirus names today. A lot of fun to be had. I hope you're enjoying trading these, and I hope these videos are useful for you. Keep an eye on this APT 4-hour potential equilibrium and NVAX. Watch for pullback as we approach that 1771, because that is a key resistance. And on the 4-hour time frame, we have been riding this overbought condition for a little while. So if we see a quick bull move to the upside, and we get right to 70.71 and we're overbought on the 4-hour and the daily and all these other time frames that have overbought conditions, that's when you start to look for reversals. That's where you start to find your short top fish opportunities. But always use stop losses, control your entries and exits to the best of your ability, and use your charts. Follow a chart. Have a good day, guys.